This week on Dance of Joy, we talk about odorless alcohol, tearaway sleeves, and 90s floral upholstery dresses. All that and more as we watch Season 7, Episode 1 of our favorite 80s hit sitcom, Perfect Strangers. Hello and welcome to Dance of Joy, a Perfect Strangers rewatch podcast. My name is Sophia. I'm one of your hosts, and joining me as always is your other host, who is also my brother. What's up, Imran?
Hi, sister. What's up, cousins? I'm excited. Glad to be back.
Glad to be back.
2024.
2024.
And we're going to talk about 1991.
We got a brand new season.
Season 7.
Solidly in the 90s now.
And the last full season of the show before we get a short AC, but we're nearing the end. I'm very excited. It's been a great journey.
Yes.
Will we be rewarded with comedy, with shenanigans this year?
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Season 7.
So Season 7, Episode 1, entitled Bachelor Party. Let's talk about the timeline for a minute. This episode aired on September 20th, 1991.
Yes.
We closed Season 6 on May 3rd, so they had that bit of their break.
This is the opening of the TV season.
Right.
Yeah, it was very...
Which we don't have
I know, it was
anymore.
always exciting.
But it was...
All the
so
new
we're
shows.
in September 1991, solidly in the 90s now.
And at the end of season 6, Larry and Jennifer had set a wedding date.
They set a wedding date. So now we have the episode called Bachelor Party.
We advance characters to Bachelor Party. Yeah, just a straight up
Nobody
episode.
cares about the Bachelorette, but this is about the Bachelor Party.
You know what? They should have done a Bachelorette Party.
Yeah.
But these guys are the stars of the show, right?
Sure.
If you open the TV guide, here's what you would have read. Balky plans a low-key Bachelor Party for Larry, but things heat up when Mr. Gorpley arrives with a stripper named Bambi. Wow, I love that already.
Wow.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Okay, so we're in for some Bachelor drunken shenanigans, maybe. We have, of course, our lead players, Bronson Pinchot and Marklyn Baker as Balky and Larry. We also have their others, Rebecca Arthur and Melanie Wilson playing Marianne and Jennifer. And then we have some cameos from our favorite Mr. Gorpley and Sam Anderson and our favorite Lydia Markham, Belita Marino.
Belita Marino is always great.
And then there's some other extras that we'll talk about when we get there.
Yes, and this is normally, if you've been listening to the show, where I tell you Perfect Strangers is streaming for free on Amazon Freebie. Well, that is no longer the case.
Get out of the city!
Yes, I'm afraid it is still available for purchase on Amazon, which is what I just did. Bought Season 7. But it's another reminder that physical media is still very much a valuable thing, right?
Yeah.
If you own these DVDs,
box.
nobody can ever just randomly take them away from you. Remove
Unless your
access
house
from them.
gets robbed.
Yes, or some kind of disaster. God forbid. But I'm saying there's still a place for everybody's like, I stopped buying DVDs a long time ago because
Now we're like,
now I'm like, because 99% of the time you could dial anything up you want to watch that you could think of. You could just dial it up and bring it.
You might have to pay
You might have
for
to pay,
it,
but
though, it's there.
It's available.
Yeah.
It's accessible. So for them to play with our feelings,
I
with
know.
just giving and taking access.
Don't they know that we just have a season and a half
Yes,
left
we've
for our
created a whole
podcast?
community for you guys.
Don't they know about the Dance of
You
Joy
can
pod?
help us out a little bit. Maybe it pops up somewhere. We'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So one thing before we get into this, just from the, what we're in Season 7, but the opening credits have not changed. It's the same sequence.
Yeah, they haven't fiddled with that.
Earlier on.
They did once.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
they went from like a longer one to a shorter one and updated with Chicago scenes, but we're still with that same opening. However, the order of Melanie Wilson and Rebecca Arthur, if you remember, they keep switching that up. Which one comes first? Listed first in the credits, and I don't know why that's important to actors, but I guess it's a thing.
I guess they had to share who would go first and who would go. It's kind of weird, and I'm sure it was in the contract.
Yeah,
so they both get a chance to be read 30 seconds sooner than the other person.
Yeah, I don't know. Why does that
know.
matter? Do you get more money if you're first?
Maybe if you get listed higher. It's a very weird thing. But
Okay.
all right. Oh my God. Okay, sure.
Fun
Well,
fact.
we'll just go back and forth. And they're like, okay, sure.
All right, Bachelor Party, woo! Is that how men get excited for bachelor parties? Oh my God.
I don't know.
Okay. So we start the episode in the workplace, the basement of the Chronicle. Larry's working, and Balky, of course, runs in with some premise-setting exclamation, and he's like, "Cousin, cousin, cousin," and he tells Larry that he just ran into Big Carmine.
Oh boy!
On the loading dock, a big Italian on the loading dock,
union worker, no doubt.
And who is Big Carmine? He goes, the guy that can open a beer bottle with his belly button.
Yo, that's an impressive trick.
That sounds painful. And Big Carmine has told Balky that it's Balky's duty as Larry's best man to throw him a bachelor party. And Balky has, despite being in the country for 6 years now,
has not picked up on this tradition.
Has never heard this before. This is news to him.
This is great, though. He literally runs in with the plot of the episode. I love that. Yeah. They're not wasting any time. Let's pause here, though, because we get our first shot of the two of our cousins, right? And when you watch this live, I remember season to season, one of the most exciting things was, I wonder what everybody's going to look like.
Oh yeah, because that's where you learn how to dress for school and stuff.
And then the shows that had families, like the Full Houses, like the kids would get older, or Growing Pains. You're like, what do they look like now? Like Growing Pains set the trend when Leo started. Everybody was dressing like that.
Leo
so we get to see after a break what our cousins look like, and right away, noticeable, the hairstyles are very different, my friend.
Balky has lost his big
long, smooth mullet and
the big helmet around.
Yeah.
And it's cut now in what I consider a very 90s sort of mushroom head kind of way.
Close cut, tapered back.
Yeah. Mushroomy. And he's got curls.
A little bit in front. Yeah.
He's got some curls.
And Larry, while he still has the giant mullet, it seems it's a little bit smaller.
It's a little less mullety, but
it's a little less mullety.
It's slicked back on
tinier.
The sides.
It's more compact. Yes.
With a lot of product, as if there was wind blowing in his face and it froze that way, wind blown, swept back.
So what are we learning here? 1991, hair is tightening up.
And
hair products and it's getting more compact. And it's getting short and tight and high.
And Jennifer's, the girl's hair we'll see later, is also a little bit calmer, a little bit less big, less poofy.
Lots of flowery dresses though.
And the girls, okay, so we're only looking at the guys at this point. We haven't even started.
We'll get to the girls. Speaking of looking at the guys, Balky's wearing this lovely, colorful
flower shirt
with
90s colors
and oranges, almost like a hypercolor thing.
All the
remember?
90s colors,
with suspenders. Yeah. So you'd be like, oh my God, this is the fashion.
The colors are very Saved by the Bell, or Double Dare.
It's 91. It's getting there. We're getting there. It's fun to watch. Anyways, back.
Bachelor
party.
Balky has just learned that he has to throw a bachelor party. Larry says that would be great. And then Larry goes, "Oh, is there going to be any bachelor type entertainment?" And he does the elbow jab. He's like, and of course we've seen this before. Balky goes along with it. And then he goes, "What are we talking about?"
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He does not get any.
That classic gag, that old gag. Larry's like, "No, I mean the entertainment," and Balky's like, "Oh, I thought we'd bob for onions, then play a few rounds of pin the mustache on Miss Meepos, and then I thought we'd get down to the main event, team quilt making.
He's like, that's right. He's very, very
and
proud
he's
of
still
himself.
doing the even though it's very crafty stuff.
And then suddenly, speaking of the girls walk in from the garage area.
They're at his job.
Yes. They've come to meet them, and now you can see they're both wearing sofa dresses. What we like to call
so they look like sofa
pattern,
very
flowery,
floral, the chairs our mom has at her house.
Yes, very upholstery.
But I remember this look because I had this jumpsuit somewhere in the 90s with big shoulders, and this it was one. It looked like one of the dresses Jennifer wears later on, black one with these pink and white flowers. But that flowery look was very in the 90s. I had a headband too that matched and all this stuff. So all of their dresses in this.
Now the girls get a chance to look at the fashion future of 1991.
Yeah, and their shoulder pads are a little less big.
Yeah,
but still
things are getting smaller. Things are getting a little more sleek.
So Okay, so we find out they're coming to pick Larry up to go get measured for his wedding ring. Okay.
Okay.
That works.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
That's the thing you got to do.
And then Marianne says to Balky, like very suggestively and hinty way, I'm going along too, even though I'm not engaged, because it would be a good experience in case I ever become engaged, which is possible because I'm still single and therefore eligible to become engaged.
Looking right at Balky.
Yeah, eye contact the whole time staring at Balky.
And you know this joke is coming because then Balky goes, Marianne. And she goes, yes, Balky. And then there's a nice pause and he goes, you have something on your chin.
I saw it coming.
Of course you know that joke is coming. He has not gotten the hint. Or has he? And he's playing with her until the right moment. I'd like to think it's that.
Well,
the
we
lag.
gotta. That's what's keeping us coming back.
That
to
is.
season
That's
7.
what's going to keep me going.
That little cliffhanger. Then we get a brief appearance by Lydia,
Lydia Markham, Belita Moreno. I love her.
but which doesn't serve the story of this episode
No.
all. There's like no service to the
She
main
literally
story.
runs in, does some lines,
It's
and
literally
runs then
just
out.
to give her a couple jokes and show
Yeah.
her face. I wonder if it was like a contract thing. She hadn't.
She's
been
like, I'm
in
on a
enough
show in 5 episodes.
Right.
I mean, it is the season premiere, right? So you think
Oh, so they
everybody
need
wants to, get
maybe.
get something. Let's remind the audience, all these characters are still around. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But, like usually they try to work it in to make it like this was the purpose of her having that character.
Yeah.
But this one it's just an appearance.
It
to
weaves
say some
into
jokes.
Gorpley's appearance, but then he does actually come back later. So
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense.
So
But
this
this
one
is
was
it.
like-
We got 2 minutes of Lydia.
Yeah.
She's in, she's out. Zing, zang, boom. What's she doing?
And what is she doing? Just telling some jokes, I guess. Just delivering some jokes because she comes running out of the library, I guess, like all a giggle and stuff, and
Like
and then
adjusting her clothes.
Yeah, and
like
adjusting her.
if she's been doing something back there.
And then she sees the group there, and she goes, "Oh, there's a new librarian in the archives."
Whoa.
And then she straightens up her clothes, and she's like, "He certainly knows where everything is."
what was happening back there?
So suggestive.
Yikes.
So adult for TGIF.
There's a lot in this
My
episode.
yeesh.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of adult things in this episode coming up, but yes.
She asked them if they're ready for the big day, and they're like, "Yep." And she's like, "Okay, so you signed the papers then?" And they're like, "What papers?" And she goes, "The prenuptial agreement." And then she's like, "Listen, all your best earning years are ahead of you, and someone with your talent could make a lot of money, and you don't want to lose it all in a messy divorce." And Larry clutches his pearls. He's like, "Oh, I would never ask Jennifer to sign a prenup." And Lydia goes, "I was talking to Jennifer."
I was talking to Jennifer. That's good. You know that was going to keep. That is
So funny.
That is a good joke.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, maybe she served the purpose to put some kind of tension between them about the wedding.
Wedding
before
and
the other
finances.
tension that becomes the main part of
But
the.
that also makes me think: does Jennifer have a lot of money? Maybe he should be signing a prenuptial. Maybe
Yeah.
she should be having him. I want to know.
Airline business.
Yeah, we're never gonna find out because Lydia goes to the elevator and presses the button, and the door opens, and Sam Gorpley comes out, and right away he's got a zinger for Lydia, and just goes, "Oh, hi, Lydia. The new librarian's married." And Lydia's like, "Oh," and then he walks away smiling. Because there's nothing more he loves than ruining someone's day.
So it does inject a bit of this Lydia Gorpley dynamic and Lydia character,
Yes,
but it
those
doesn't
two.
really. The only purpose it could serve for the rest is adding extra, to underscore the fact that Larry is nervous about Jennifer still wanting to go through with it, or something.
Well, we get more of the Lydia character, who's a little hornball there, I guess, or something.
And the Gorpley Lydia
just assaulting
dynamic.
every employee that shows up, Lydia.
Okay, so the girls are there, and Balky, still excited about what he's learned today, tells them very excitedly that he's going to be throwing Larry a bachelor party. And
but it's the way he tells him.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, guess what, guys? I went to a bachelor party. And it just starts going,
in that suggestive way that he doesn't understand.
And so in the beginning, it's all innocent, and Larry's there smiling. But then they cut to Jennifer, and she has
like,
a very,
what?
very not a good face on, very strong face. And it's so funny because you see Larry's face change, and he's like, oh, and then he tries to stop it, stop it, hey. And Jennifer just tells him she can't believe he's going to have one of those disgusting bachelor parties. Clearly, there was a reputation for bachelor parties. It still is.
In the 80s.
No, it's the same thing. What do you, if they say bachelor party, what do you think of?
Yeah.
You think a strip club, lots of booze, strippers, I don't know.
Yeah,
limousine,
shenanigans.
Yes.
Hooliganery.
Yes.
And shenanigans.
Hooliganery?
I think I made that up.
But, but it's not always, because you can have a completely innocent, fun, PG
you could go to like a
bachelor
craft
party
brewery.
if you don't drink or whatever.
You could go to a craft brewery.
Like I said that story before. I went to one, it was dry, like it wasn't alcohol, but we went to the gun range.
Oh, yeah.
We shot guns. And I was like, you know what? That's just as good as
that
strippers.
is
Really.
very interesting. Yeah. Okay. And Balky still doesn't know what this suggestive laugh thing is about, and he does it again, like nodding to Larry and being like, and Larry's like, stop it.
Every time somebody says bachelor party, he just starts going, and then Larry has to stop him.
Larry assures Jennifer it's not going to be like that. We're going to just get together and make a quilt.
That's what Balky had planned, was quilt making.
Right. And so Jennifer thinks he's trying to be cute or something. He doesn't realize that he's serious. And she's like, give me a little credit, Larry. I know what these parties are about. And then we find out why she has such strong feelings about bachelor parties. She says, a bachelor party nearly destroyed my family.
Oh, boy.
My cousin April's fiance ran off with a stripper from his bachelor party. He gave up a thriving dental practice to tell jokes at a place called Benny's Boom Boom Room.
And then he just cut to Gorpley and he goes, I love the Boom Boom Room. Because it's a real classy place. It's got thick carpeting cushions for when you fall off your bar stool.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if he's joking or he's like, that's actually really nice to fall off the bar stool.
I love this like dig at stand-up comedy because she's like,
this is
because of a bachelor party, this guy ran off with a stripper and that led to him quitting a thriving dental practice. Like there's
comic?
something missing in there. We need more details.
To just be a comic at Benny's Boom Boom Room. Who knows? Maybe he kills at the Boom Boom Room. Maybe he's living his dream now, right?
Let him tell the jokes.
He went to dental school for his parents, but he really wanted to be a stand-up.
As a comedian, I'm a little bit offended by this joke.
He gets to live out his dream. Who knows? Jennifer's being very narrow-minded.
Yeah,
she's a very narrow idea of a bachelor party.
She's being so
she
gross.
goes, she calls it, she tells him, she's like, I don't think I could ever marry a man who would have such a disgusting, degrading ritual. And then Balky starts laughing again. He's like, he's not helping.
Oh my God.
Larry's like, stop it. Then Larry has to explain to Jennifer, Balky is organizing our bachelor party. He goes, you have nothing to worry about. And you know what? That seems to do it.
And that's it. She's like, okay. That's all she needs to hear, I guess. But she's still like,
she's like,
suspicious.
All right, let's do this ring thing.
She's still suspicious. Okay, so we cut to that evening. Okay, so that same day he finds out and he's throwing the bachelor party that night.
Yeah, it's pretty quick to get what we see as they transition back to the apartment, a room full of gentlemen watching television,
all the
eating
dude
popcorns.
Friends. Who are all these dude friends?
So I recognize, so first of all, Larry's in the back, like biting his fingernails.
Yeah,
clearly not having a good time.
They're all on the sofa, like crowded around the TV watching a sports game.
I imagine it's a football game. Yeah. Jimmy, the security guard, I recognize from the past.
Yeah.
He's there.
He's there.
Balky is there in a lovely vest offering some appetizers.
Yes. And also, I did say, like, there's a pretty significant group of men there. Like, who are all these friends they have? They're like, and also for 1991,
it's a quite
in this
lovely,
crowd,
diverse group of.
There's one black guy and one Asian guy.
There's an Asian dude, there's a black dude. Larry,
that was pretty advanced for 1991 sitcoms.
Yeah,
to have an Asian.
It is very
character.
very diverse. I like that. Dude, these people are really friends of Larry's? That's my question.
Who knows? We've never seen them before.
As we'll see here, he's just yelling at them to stay quiet and not make a mess, and it doesn't seem to be a very good party.
And Balky's got a tray of like a certain appetizer, and he's going around offering it up, and he goes, "Goat doodle?
Goat doodle?
It's a goat doodle, whatever these things are. What are they? They're the traditional Meposian pre-wedding snack.
Of course they are. They got a snack for everything, those mepiats.
And then there's a beat, and he goes, they're hairless.
Which is a selling point for Meposian treats.
Yep.
Well, nobody's paying attention to him, right?
No.
They're watching TV. And then somebody scores a touchdown. Everybody jumps up and yells, and they knock all the doodles all over the ground.
The doodles.
Send Balky flying.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
And the doodles are like these little brown, and they almost bounce like rubber balls.
Yeah.
Larry's mad. Why? Because he wants people to be quiet for some reason. He's mad at the noise they're making in their apartment, which is very odd and like a weird thing to be mad about. But he's like, quiet, quiet. Look what you've done to his doodles.
Larry does not know what to do at a bachelor party. He's just being a party pooper. He's like, everybody quiet or I'll send you home. Just like I sent Fred home. He's already sent somebody home from this bachelor party for making too much noise. And they're telling him to lighten up. It's supposed to be a party. So
then the guys turn up the television volume, and Larry like grabs the remote from them and turns it back down again, like all angry.
They're all like, boo.
Yeah. And then Gorpley shows up.
Yeah, so knock at the door. Balky goes, he's picked up what the doodles were on the ground, put them back on his platter.
And then he offers Gorpley the platter, and he goes, Dusty Doodle.
Dusty Doodle.
Nice alliteration. And Balky is very happy to see Mr. Gorpley because he's like, look, things are kind of slow here. I don't know what to do. And Gorpley's like, I got here just in time.
Oh, boy.
And he says he's brought everything they need, and he's about to heat up this party. And so he goes to the kitchen counter, and there's a big punch bowl there, like some kind of red punch in a punch bowl. And first of all, I haven't seen a punch bowl in real life in like a really long time. Who uses like
it's been a while.
It happens. Punch bowl when they have parties and stuff.
No, but if you're throwing a party, a punch bowl is not a bad thing.
I know, but I'm just saying it's like out of fashion right now. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I mean, maybe like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the early 2000s.
So, and then anyway, of course, he pulls out
a bowl for your drinks.
A bottle of clear alcohol spirits, presumably vodka. It looks like vodka.
I think it's the bottle of vodka. Yes, they're covering the label.
And he just like pours the whole thing.
While he's doing this, Larry doesn't see him because the boys are making noise, and he's like, shut up, I'll clear this whole room. He's threatening to throw everybody out. And right behind him, you see Gorpley smiling.
And there's a third time of the goat doodles getting knocked off the tray.
Oh, yes. And then Larry walks over to Balky.
Or second time, actually. Second time.
And Balky flinches, except this time, this legit have to be high bounce rubber balls. Because the goat doodles just hilariously are bouncing really high. Keep going. It's so
actually,
funny.
maybe it's the third. Anyway, I thought there were three
and then
times.
What does he say?
Balky, watch your doodles.
That's what he said. Watch your doodles.
And so while this is all happening, Gorpley has poured the entire bottle of vodka, a big one, into the punch. And he's stirring it up, whatever. But Larry didn't see that. It was happening in the background. And so Gorpley gives Larry and Balky cups of punch. He's like, here, wet your whistles. And Balky and Larry, how old are they at this point?
Yeah, okay, so this is great. Like, the take is great.
24 plus 6 is like 30, 31, 32 years old. They're supposed to be.
They both take a sip simultaneously, and then they both go, ah. And then they both stand up and go, huh? And then, but this is funny, too, because Balky goes, tastes great. And Larry goes, less filling. And they chug the rest of it. And they drink some more of this spiked punch. Okay, wait, let's pause here. There's a couple things. You're absolutely right.
There's a couple things.
Are we to believe that they did not know the taste of lots of alcohol?
Like a whole bottle of alcohol poured in. They've never tasted this or been around it or smelled it.
Yeah, this tastes funny, and I can't quite put my finger on what may have happened here with Gorpley, who just entered.
Gorpley's just like
that, the amount he put in would substantially alter the flavor.
But they drank it as if they didn't know it was in there. They didn't know it's been spiked.
And so what we're about to see the whole time, are they like, we don't know why we're acting like this.
How do you know it's not spiked? How do you not know it's spiked? You can smell an entire bottle of vodka.
Wait, somebody spiked this. No, they're just like, Oh, this is yummy. Let me drink some more.
What?
I'm instantly addicted. Anyways, the taste great, less filling. You remember that?
Yeah, it was an ad campaign for a beer.
Yeah, for Miller Lite. Remember, half the crowd would be like, "Tastes great." They'd be like, "Less filling." They would argue
it was
over
a
the
lot for
both
a long
benefits
time.
of this brew. That they were good, fantastic marketing campaign.
That
Always
wasn't the
remember that.
Frogs. Oh, Budweiser.
No, that was
the Frogs.
Budweiser.
Yeah, okay.
But tastes great, less filling was a very good campaign. Anyways, they transition to later in the evening.
And now we start a lot of physical comedy for the rest of this episode.
Describe this scene.
Okay, it's later that evening. The punch has been spiked. The punch had been spiked when we were in the last
Punch
scene.
is spiked.
So now presumably everybody has gone on to enjoy this punch. Not a single one has said, hey, this tastes like an entire bottle of vodka.
I wonder what's in here.
And so
everybody's
the
now
whole group
feeling
has
good.
gotten very debaucherous and raucous and when as we see like the apartment's messier. They're all like,
well, and when you play drunk, what do? You unbutton the top button of your shirt, you pull out one side of the thing.
Askew,
just
half
make
tucked.
it. You just pull the shirt and turn it.
Yeah.
That means you are officially drunk.
And they're all that way, and they're all being loud and laughing. And Balky and Larry, in the beginning of this scene, I thought Mark Lynn-Baker's and Bronson Pinchot's acting was pretty much exactly the same as the nitrous gas episode at the dentist's office.
Yeah, so like that instance, and this is like a dream opportunity for a comedic actor who doesn't want to play drunk or high. Like that is the one you can have the most fun
and
be silly. And there's so many different ways to play it.
And the way they did it here is like
so many different ways.
Over the top,
yes, cartoony,
super cliched, super cartoony, like exaggerated, like fun drunk or whatever.
And we start with some,
sloppy drunk.
We start with some things dudes would do. This is definitely a guy thing here. We cut back and you hear someone go, $5 says Appleton can't do 2. And they're sitting at the couch. They stand up and Larry's like, I can do 2. 2 what, you may ask? Well, there's plates in front of them. He grabs one plate
like dinner
in each
plates,
hand, dinner plate,
ceramic dinner plates.
and everyone's chanting "Go, go, go!" And he proceeds to just smash them over his head and laugh
at the same time.
Laugh like a 6-year-old.
And everyone's
cheers.
like, ah.
But come on, that is absolutely something guys would do.
Okay, wait. Have you ever done that at a dude party?
Not.
You ever broke plates over your head?
No, because they got breakaway plates. You can't do that with regular plates. But they don't explain that here.
Okay. Anyway.
Then we get a great bit of Balky reaching for his cup and Larry getting the label for the punch and just pouring it down Balky's shirt. Completely missing.
White shirt.
Just his pink shirt.
Now.
Completely missing the cup. He's just pouring. And then he just picks up the bowl. This is just so great. He grabs the back of Balky's head and shoves it in the bowl in the punch bowl. And like Bronson Pinchot's legit face is under liquid. It's underwater. And then everyone's laughing and he pulls his head out and then he does it again. He pulls his head out just enough so he can take a breath.
No, yeah.
And then like dunks his head again. And I was like, he's really dunking his whole head into liquid.
This liquid. This
amazing.
Pink red liquid in a punch bowl. That's got to be a big bowl to get your whole head in there.
Oh, you'll see. It fits both of their heads in a second.
Oh, yeah.
And then they start chanting for Balky to go, go, go. And Balky starts doing a wiggle and gets his hands and legs all wiggly.
Oh, yeah. He's like warming up his hands.
What's he going to do? He grabs 1 plate, smash. Grabs 2 plates, smash. And then someone hands him like a big glass, like fruit platter. Like, this thing, like our mom has one.
Yeah.
And he takes that
crystal platter.
Smashes that whole thing over his head. He goes for a high five with Larry and he misses, and they both spin and collapse on the sofa.
Laughing.
And then they both just stop and they lean forward and they both dunk their faces in the bowl at the same time.
To drink straight.
I mean, this is all such fun stuff to do.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm like,
and we know that they always try to do it in one take so that you get a genuine audience reaction. And it would be hard to do different takes because your clothes and everything are getting messed up.
Especially stuff like this. Like, how do you get the audience laughing again when they're like, you're doing exactly the same thing?
Right.
When it's like you're drunk, it's spontaneous.
Yeah.
And then it's hilarious. There's a knock on the door and they both go, I'll get it. And they stand up and turn around and walk over and just collapse over the couch onto the floor. They both just instantly go up and then just fall over. It's so funny. Because everybody goes back and sits down. And then the physical comedy continues as Bucky, he's like, come on, cousin. I'll get the door. And all you see are Larry's legs sticking out from behind the sofa. And he grabs his leg and he drags Larry back. Yeah. And he hits the door. And then he says a really funny meta line.
I thought our living room was bigger.
Oh, my God. You know how you talking about the living room has gotten bigger?
I wonder if they did that as like an Easter egg or something, because the character is saying, I hit this door too soon. I thought I had more space to walk. But all we've been talking about for a while now is how big their living room
got big.
Enormous.
Not big enough, according to Bucky,
So
I guess.
maybe they had heard some buzz, and this was like a little nod to like, yes, we know the living room is huge now. The apartment is huge.
So then Larry is still lying face first on the floor in front of him, and Bucky bends down, grabs him by the waist, and yoinks him up in a couple of big pulls.
Yeah.
It's great because you can see Mark Lynn Baker help a little bit.
Yeah.
But it has that effect of like
he looks like a rainbow, he looks like an arc.
Like a rag doll. And he just pops him up. And Larry, they're both facing one way with Larry's back to Bucky. Larry goes, who is it? And then Bucky spins him around. Larry goes, it's you. They start laughing. It's so silly.
Well, whoever's on the other side of the door doesn't have much more patience to wait.
Yeah, they're not waiting anymore.
So
they just throw
bust
the door
through
open.
the door, and it's this woman who walks in very confidently. She's in a trench coat and a hat, like a black top hat. Walks in very confidently.
Gorpley is smiling in the background.
And she goes, "Are you Larry Appleton?" To Larry, and Larry goes to Belk. He goes, "Am I?" And Belky goes, "Well, of course you are. Don't be meticulous."
It's great because he's drunk. Get it? And then they both look at each other and they start laughing like they're eating out the joke.
To say, don't be ridiculous. But meticulous is a lovely rhyme for ridiculous.
Yes.
They're laughing at their jokes, whatever. And the woman throws off her hat and throws open her trench coat, and she's in like a leotard, a black sexy leotard
with
and
long
tights
gloves.
And long gloves. And she goes, "Hi, I'm Bambi."
And then
she's a dancer.
The crowd goes wild. The boys start cheering. Balky is like reaching for her over Larry's shoulder as she throws her coat on him. And Gorpley puts on what's commonly referred to as stripper music.
The stripper music.
You know, like old-timey stripper music.
Right. Classy stripper music. And so she's in like a black lingerie bodysuit
so
thing.
I'm like, are we about to watch a stripper here?
She's peeling off her gloves and
all we see her is pull off her long gloves, throw them to the boys.
She is pretty. She is like well dressed. I mean, it's like tame rated G strippers.
Yes.
G rated.
Yeah.
She's fully covered, but there's a lot to take off, which is why we get the idea by just taking off a glove.
You gotta wear long gloves.
And she's like dancing around as if she's.
But that's all we see, and it fades to black. End of Act 1.
End of Act 1. Before we move on, let's talk about some of these guest casts that we see at this party. So Jimmy, the security guard, you mentioned, we've seen him before. We like him. He's played by a guy called Jim Dugan. And this episode is actually his final appearance.
Oh, that's it for Jimmy, the security guard.
In Perfect Strangers.
All right,
so I was like 3-4 times he was on it.
Yeah.
I bet, yeah. And then
who played Bambi?
Bambi was played by Susie Singer, who later went on to be on Melrose Place and the Larry Sanders Show.
Okay.
And she did some film work, writing and producing. She started her own production company.
Bambi made something of herself. I like to hear that.
Yeah.
Before we get to Act 2, listener, you can join this conversation by joining our Facebook group, where I post a thread for every episode we are going to do. Remember, we're in season 7. We got a season and a half left. Comment. You can comment with your memories, questions.
We need your encouragement to make it through.
Your encouragement, your nitpicks, whatever. We'll share it on the show, and you're part of the show.
We just need people to stick with us so we can keep.
There is a link in the episode description.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. This one's not bad. Act 2, sister. Where are we starting?
We are starting at the apartment again, but it's the next morning. and there's a phone ringing, and we get a little bit of a look around the apartment.
Okay, let's now, this apartment.
What
oh,
are
boy.
we looking at?
What happened? Because there are
Describe.
broken dishes all over the floor, the table. For some reason, there's a stool stacked on top
There's
of another
so many
stool.
details to this
There
trashed
is,
apartment that was fun
clothing
to look at.
on the bookshelf.
The paper towels are pulled across the kitchen and then end up in the blender.
The freezer door is open for some reason.
Yeah.
The painting is in a pot on the stove. Like, what were they doing? And the more you look, you're like, why is the painting askew? Why would the plant even be knocked over?
The plant on top of the refrigerator was knocked
Why are those
over.
stools stacked on top of each other?
There's like broken plates all over, clothing all over the place.
Yeah. What was happening?
The paper towel rolls in the blender.
There's packages of food on the floor. What was happening?
What happened? The entire place is really trashed, but it was fun to like look at all the details.
Yes.
Yeah.
And his phone is constantly ringing, and Balky's on the floor. He's like, "Cause I get the phone." And Larry gets up, and his hair's all messed up because I'm trying to answer the phone. I can't concentrate with all this ringing. And he literally steps on Balky as he walks over, like, and the Balky goes, ah! He finds the cord for the phone and follows it back all the way to like the socket, right? It's on the little meeting in the kitchen where you plug in the phone, the electric company. And Larry gets there and he goes, Balky, our phone is in the wall. Which I thought was kind of funny.
And then he tries to stand up, but he's under that counter, and he hits his head on the under.
Oh yeah, that's also good.
Underneath the counter, and Balky goes to find the phone, and he tracks it down. He finds the like body of the phone, the receiver. He picks up the receiver, drops the rest of the body of it.
Yeah, it's very heavy. Remember, this is a corded phone.
Yeah, the heavy ones.
Back in the day, not a cell phone,
landline phone.
Yes,
and he answers the phone. It's Jennifer, and so he gives it to Larry, and Larry's like, "Oh, what bachelor party? Oh, it was pleasant." And he's like, and then we hear him go, "Oh, you want to come on down? Well, sure." And then he realizes what he said. He looks around and he gets all like,
"Oh."
Buggy-eyed and panicked again, and he's still on the phone. He's like, wait, isn't it early? Oh, noon? It's already noon? And he's like, no, I've been up for hours. He's like, okay, sure, come on down. See you in a few minutes.
Oh, boy.
Balky has picked up the body of the phone and offered it to Larry to hang up. And Larry just like takes the receiver and throws it to the ground, ignoring the body of the phone. So she could still be on the phone. She hasn't hung up.
Not hung up. And then he grabs Balky. He goes, Jennifer's coming down so I can try on my wedding band. And then at that point, Balky drops the phone right on his foot, which those things are heavy. That would have hurt.
Wouldn't you go to the store to try on the wedding band, though?
Wait, that's a good point.
In case they need adjustments.
But they sized him.
They sized him, but like to try it on.
And then
I guess she like
on.
Went and picked it up or something.
Yeah, you'd be excited. You want to get to it.
Yeah, anyway.
But Larry's like, if she sees this mess, I'm a dead man. We have to clean up this place now. And you're thinking to yourself, there is no way.
There's no way.
There is no way you will be able to clean this
in a few minutes.
Both being as hungover as they are, Balky like collapses on top of Larry as he bends over, it's a great physical bit. And he gets up and turns around and he walks over to the table, and the punch is still there. And he's like, Austin, what should I do with this punch? As he picks up the bowl.
And Larry's picking things up, and he just looks at him and he goes, throw it out.
And Balky's like, okay. And then he just throws the punch at the wall in the window, the closed window. The window's not open. He mostly misses the window. And he ends up throwing the punch like on the blinds and on the wall. It's pretty funny.
So funny. He meant to throw it out the window, like flinging the punch from inside the bowl out the window.
The window's closed, and it was a very high throw. It wouldn't have made it out there.
It's like the cake. Remember when he threw the cake at the window?
But that time he opened the window, it slid down.
Oh, yeah, that one was so... I laughed so hard. That timing was great.
Anyways, none of this is working. Larry and Balky are freaking out, and Larry's like, Balky, help me out here. And so they both grab one end of the coffee table. And then
they take the cushions off the couch.
Well, they're already off the couch, and there's all this broken cups and plates on the coffee table. They pick up the coffee table and just shove it, tilt it, everything into the sofa, put it back down.
Shake everything off it into the sofa.
Cover it with the cushions and sit down. And he's like,
they hear all this crunching when they sit down. And he's like,
there. Perfect. She'll never know.
No evidence of a
evidence
bachelor
at all.
party.
It's the whole
No
place
evidence
is
of
a
anything
mess.
at all, and the whole place is trashed. Yeah.
That's all. He's being delusional and being a little neurotic here, as we'll see. This is actually pretty great.
And then, yes. So then Larry, rolls up his sleeves, and then then we all see at the same time as Balky, something on Larry's arm.
Yes.
And Balky's like,
some
what's
kind of
that?
doodle.
So it appears that Larry has a fresh tattoo, a big one on his arm, and Balky's like, what's that? And he goes, oh, that's my arm. Fingers, hand, wrist, tattoo of a naked lady. And then he bugs out and he goes, oh my Lord.
Yes.
So there's
and Balky's like, cousin.
a large naked lady.
He's like, cousin, that's just not any naked lady. That looks like Bambi. And they're like, what? And then Balky grabs his hand and squeezes his forearm, going boom, bubba, up and down to make Bambi dance so he can correctly identify, like, oh, that's definitely Bambi.
Like that old-timey stripper music. Yeah.
So Larry is freaking out, understandably. He does not know what they did. He must have gotten it last night. They don't know where they went. And there's a funny bit where they're both standing and he goes, did we go to the wharf?
Whoa, is there a wharf in Chicago?
Well, I don't know what he means. Did he talk about Navy Pier? I don't know what he's talking about. Chicago Wharf.
Was it ever called a wharf?
I don't know. But they're standing. He goes, did we go to the wharf? And simultaneously, Balky sniffs himself and Larry sniffs Balky all at the same time, which is kind of pretty cool. Real quick. And
so
neither of them
they don't remember what they did.
Remember what happened at all last night.
Larry says the last thing he remembers is drinking punch out of Bambi's bra.
Whoa, this is racy. So at some point the bra came off and people were drinking fluids.
I know, that's racy for TGIF.
Yeah. And then Balky doubles down on this joke and goes, that's the last thing I remember too. And then he goes, it was a double. And then he goes the whole where do I come up with a joke. Double. He laughs at his own joke.
Yeah, like a double shot drink and a double cupped bra or something like that. Yeah, I didn't really get that. I get what they're trying to do, but I don't really understand the logic of that joke. Larry's freaking out.
Yeah.
Jennifer is going to be there any minute, and he's got a naked lady tattooed on his arm. And he jumps from that to, I have no reason to go on living.
And he's freaking out. He's like,
He thinks Jennifer's going to like end everything, and it's the end of his
it. It's
life.
over. But he's being very neurotic on and off. It's brilliant by Mark Lindbaker.
Back and forth.
Because he goes, and he goes, it's okay. I have everything under control. He's like, I know what I have to do. I'll just have to cut off my arm. And he grabs a broken plate and starts sawing at his forearm.
And Balky stops him and takes the plate away. He says, you cannot cut off your arm.
He takes the plate away and smashes it over his head. And then Larry starts gnawing at his arm. With his teeth. He's going to bite his whole arm off. And then he's like, and he stops and he goes, why am I making myself crazy? He just completely flips. He goes, I'll just pull down my sleeve. And he pulls the sleeve down and it rips off the top of the shoulder, of course.
Has that ever happened
Never.
to you? Like,
Never.
you can't just like pull on a sleeve. And
is this a worn out shirt? How hard are you pulling?
What kind of cheapy clothes are you
It's
wearing?
a breakaway sleeve, but you would roll the sleeve down, not just like
not like tug.
Well,
you're not just like tug on it.
Yeah,
but
he was trying to
even
get it down.
if you're tugging on, like I'm tugging on my sleeve, I'm wearing a similar shirt right now.
Oh no, the sleeve comes off very easily. Just barely, he barely pulled it.
Anyway,
the tears all the way down.
Anyway, he rips the sleeve off. Then he realizes, and he
like
screams, a panicky.
There's a knock on the door. Jennifer's here. He's like, if she sees my arm, my life is over.
My life is over.
That's what it's going to take. That's
about a tattoo.
That's quite a jump. I mean, it is permanent. If it's real, it's permanent. But it's tattoo.
But it was 1991.
But you wear a long sleeve shirt. That's fine.
Well, no, they probably were. But yeah, you just wear a shirt. But they're not thinking straight, clearly, at this point. And also...
and Balky has an idea. He goes, no, it's not, cousin. Your life's not over. He runs over to get this coat off the rack.
That we've never seen either of them wear before.
It's a very big red coat. They're running around
somebody left
the living room. And Larry's like, why aren't you helping me? Yelling at him.
And Balky smacks him to calm him down.
Now, you would think... Larry could just wear this coat.
Yeah.
It has a sleeve.
It has a sleeve.
It would cover the tattoo. It would be odd that you're wearing a large outdoor
But
coat.
if Larry just wore the coat, we would miss this classic
That's not what they decide to do.
vaudevillian
They decide
bit of physical comedy,
Yes.
which you and I, it didn't make sense why they had to do it, of course, but
I love
despite that, we
they do
loved
this.
watching it. And
What is the bit? The bit, of course, is one arm is the performer's arm that you're seeing, and the other arm is another performer from behind.
Every sitcom did this. I'm pretty sure it was on Cosby at one point.
And like, if you've ever seen whose line is it anyway? It is used as an improv game where the hand and the person both have to kind of improv off each other. At times, the hand has to follow the lead the person is doing. Other times, the person has to go with the hand movements and make something up.
I'm trying to remember.
And it's always hilarious. It's always hilarious.
I feel like it was on Cosby, but I can't remember right now.
No, it's been on a couple other ones. Yeah. But come on, it's always funny.
So funny.
And yes, Larry could have just worn the coat.
With these two together, the chemistry they already have.
Yes.
Oh, you know this is going to be good.
So how are we going to describe this? So they get ready, and Larry's sitting on the edge of the couch, and Bucky is clearly behind him, but he says, "Come in." And we see Jennifer enters in yet another flowery sofa
Larry's
dress.
right arm is his own arm.
Yes, and his left arm
with the tattoo has been replaced in the coat with Balky's left arm, who's like crouched
behind him,
behind the couch,
under the coat,
under this cloaky big coat thing.
And Jennifer has a box in her hand and a sofa print. Another dress.
This is the black one
sofa
with
flower dress.
Flowers.
She comes over and she sits on the sofa next to him. And so already they're doing funny things where he's like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I'd known you were coming. I would have." Well, and Balky's like fluffing his hair. And he's like, "Oh, I'm a mess."
Balky's very like flowery with his hand gestures.
Yes, very
expressing things, and Larry has to go along with the expressions that the hand.
He's grabbing at him. He's
grabbing at his chest,
pointing,
his face.
There's flourishes. There's so many things. I don't know how we're gonna.
There's like
how we're gonna describe
finger
this.
wagging.
A lot of finger wagging. A lot of gesturing,
and
heavy
this goes
gesturing.
on for like a long time. It's very, very funny. I don't think we're even able to walk through it in words.
Well, I mean, so he
fidgets Larry's tie.
Yes, first they try to come up with an excuse. She wants him to try on the ring. Of course, that's on the Balky hand. Is what you're gonna have to try it on
the left hand.
And at first, he's like, "Oh, it's bad luck for her husband to try on the wedding ring before the ceremony is bad luck," and they try to like get out of it that way.
And you can see it almost looks like Bronson Pinchot and Marklin Baker did improvise this and on purpose didn't practice this because they wanted to just do it on the spot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't choreographed. To me, it felt like it wasn't choreographed. They were just, it was like real raw first take.
It seemed so.
Because every time Balky's
improv.
hand would gesture, he would say funny things or stretch out his comments to match the hands.
Oh boy. No, and then the next thing they're like, I just remembered because I just remembered, and he's scratching, Balky is scratching Larry's head, and Larry's like, because
it won't fit
because of water retention.
And Balky's hand is grabbing at his stomach.
It's like, water retention.
Look at that.
I mean, there are some really funny bits. So then Jennifer notices, and you kind of you're led to the fact that Jennifer's kind of got a smirk, she knows kind of what's going on. She's acting. She does a good job acting that way.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Don't be silly."
Just watching them.
Yeah, to make a fool of themselves.
Silently.
She's like, "Give me your hand." She grabs his left hand, Balky's hand, and she's like, "Oh, I never noticed your fingers were so long and slender.
And lovely."
Yes, and at that point, Balky just he starts doing little flourishing things.
I'm flattered.
Yes.
I'm flattered
yes.
on Larry's
chest.
And
I'm flattered. Gesture just with his hand. It's so great.
And Jennifer is now putting them through the ringer on purpose because she already knows the truth. So she's like, "Actually, I always thought your fingers were kind of short and chubby."
And Larry gasps, and then Balky grabs his chest.
Yeah. And Larry's like, "No, I would have described them as strong." And then Balky's arm
does the making the muscle. She goes strong and masculine.
And masculine.
And he's just holding up the muscle
does a
pose.
Popeye arm.
It's so ridiculous looking.
Like the muscle flex,
Yeah,
bicep
but
flex.
Jennifer is like playing with them more. She's like, "Oh no, I liked your short, chubby fingers. I thought they were sexy." And then at that point, Balky starts snapping his fingers.
Wait, where does he point?
Well, that's later.
Oh, okay.
That's coming up. Balky starts snapping his fingers.
That part was
And Larry's
so
like, well,
funny.
you know,
The act cool.
Yes, it's
The
like
jazz finger
well,
snaps.
yes.
So funny. I laughed so hard at that part.
And then he's like, yes, because then Larry's like, I still have one of those.
Yeah.
And Balky points to his other hand and he holds up his hand. He goes, this hand.
And so then Larry sees that and like puts up his
Yes.
other hand. It's so funny.
He goes, this hand represents my strong. But there's a whole bunch of the whole time Balky's pointing at his hand in like so many different ways. Like he's
he
finger
says
wagging,
my strong
pointing.
and masculine side, and Balky does the muscle flex again.
He goes, this hand, this is probably the funniest bit. He goes, this hand represents my strong masculine side. And Balky quickly points down to his crotch and he grabs his hand.
Oh my
It's so
gosh.
funny.
That's also
I was like,
so
oh my God.
suggestive
I was like, did I
for
just see that?
TGIF.
That's so funny. Did I just see that? He's like, strong masculine. He points down.
Points down to
Great.
his crotch.
Oh my
And then
God.
he says the other hand, his own hand, represents my soft.
No,
and,
Balky's hand. Now he's talking about Balky's hand.
Yeah.
He's like, but this hand represents what?
Oh, yeah. My soft and wimpy side.
And this does not make Balky happy.
Yeah, because then that hand pinches Larry's chest and Larry screams, ow. And then
And then he's trying to cover. He's like,
takes
oh,
Balky's
yes.
hand,
Yes.
his own left hand, and bites it.
Oh yes,
And then
you
we hear Balky go,
muffled-
ah.
Yeah, muffled out. And then you hear Larry like stand up because he probably bit because Balky probably bit him in the back after that.
Yeah.
And then Larry's trying to cover it. He's like, "Oh, up!
It's gas. So this is like this crazy scene. They're so frantic, and Jennifer is literally just quiet and sitting there and staring at them.
It's so
anyway,
funny.
they go back and forth like punching and pinching each other until they calm down. Balky's hand like fans Larry's face and then
He's
coils
like, "Woo,
and twists his locks
woo."
in a like a girly way of twisting his hair. And
and he's like, "Woo."
they're just doing all this silly stuff. And finally, Jennifer goes, Larry, why don't we stop this?
He's just got a.
She
cut it.
goes, I know about the Bambi tattoo. And then
Larry's like,
Larry gasps and Balky's hand covers his mouth.
Covers his mouth.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
in shock or whatever. And he moves Balky's hand and he goes, how do you know? Oh, he goes, you do? And she says, yes. And then
Balky's hand starts doing like the snap down gesture
and
as in,
Larry sees it and he
"Oh,
goes,
darn."
oh, darn.
And he's like, rats.
Darn
it. No. And Balky's like pounding on his leg now.
And like
he's just
grasping at the air.
repeatedly
like,
doing it.
yeah.
Oh, darn.
Darn.
Rats. It's so funny. It's
And
so
Jennifer's
funny.
finally like, Balky, you can come out now. She knows.
Balky slowly comes out of this jacket. And I do love this line.
funny, yeah.
He goes, oh, Jennifer, how long have you been here? It's so silly.
And she's like, nice try, but I know everything.
Oh, boy.
And then Larry's like, could you tell us?
That's great. Now they can find out what happened. Can you fill us in? He says.
And he's so nervous about her getting mad, but like,
At what?
this would be cause for her to get mad. Like, you don't remember? That's how drunk you got?
Yes,
like,
that's what she should
get mad.
Because that's dangerous. You could have got hurt. You could have hurt
if
somebody.
if you blacked out and you don't remember,
You
that's
may have
bad.
an
You were
alcohol problem.
really drunk.
You might have to see somebody.
But
no.
she doesn't care about
No,
that.
she does. That's
He's
fine.
like, can you tell us? And she goes, okay. And she says that at 2:00 in the morning, their friend Jimmy, security guard, knocked on her door looking for his car, which doesn't even make sense to me.
How
at
drunk
all.
was Jimmy?
That
And then
makes
he's going
no
to get in a
sense. Knocked
car.
on my door. Of all the other apartments, he somehow
Do you
found
know
their
what
apartment.
Jimmy's like, my car is.
There are other people in that building, not just these two apartments.
I hope Jimmy didn't hit someone on the way home. Everyone got home safe.
Anyway, they've somehow found the right apartment to knock on Jennifer's door looking for his car, which makes no sense. And anyway, that's when he told Jennifer everything. And what is everything? Everything is that Gorpley tricked Balky into letting Gorpley take care of the entertainment, hence Bambi, the stripper. And he also spiked the punch.
Okay, so then right away, this is weird. This is weird because right away, Balky is like a gut punch to Balky. He is suddenly disappointed. He's failed for some reason, and he walks away. Right, but she has to. Is this the moment when they're learning? Oh, the punch was spiked. That
I know, like
explains
they
it.
didn't, like nobody tasted the difference or smelled the
Oh,
booze
no,
or
that makes
anything.
sense. Yeah.
That is so not believable to me. But
So I don't know what's going on.
they were
but-
like, "What?
Yeah,
The
that's what
punch was
happened.
spiked." Oh,
So Balky skulks away, and Larry's still just like really nervous about what? I guess the tattoo. He's
What
like,
is
I'm
he
gonna.
nervous
He's like, I'm
about?
sorry. She grabs the tattoo, his hand. He's like, I'm gonna have him change the tattoo. He's like, I will just add an apron and write mom on the bottom. He's like, of course I can't go home again, but. And she just scoffs, and
no,
he's
he
being,
says that's a small price to pay
Oh.
for your forgiveness.
Oh,
So
yes.
he wants Jennifer to forgive him for what
not
exactly?
remembering
For having
for getting spiked.
a
Somebody taking
bachelor
advantage,
party
but yeah, somebody causing
and
him.
getting a tattoo.
Which none of this was his
None
fault.
of
Maybe
this
it was.
is anything
Now he has
for
a
her
tattoo,
to be mad about.
Which is
but-
that really? I mean, it's bad. It's permanent, but you know.
But the stakes were they're trying to get us to believe are that like Jennifer is really mad and could leave this marriage at
because
any
of
moment.
a stripper and tattoo, and she had a bad
And
experience in the back. in the
Larry
past.
messed up in this situation, which I don't think is true at all. But Larry did something wrong, and now he needs Jennifer to forgive him and stay with him and like go through with marrying him.
So she lets
I
him
don't
know.
get this at all, but
She lets him know it's not
What
a
is-
real tattoo. It comes off of baby oil, and he's like, "You forgive me?" And she's like, "Of course I forgive you. For what? What do you forgive him for?
For
exactly?
what? What did he do? He didn't do anything. Anyway.
We're not done with the little details of what happened last night. He goes, I'll tell you what, just cleaning that tattoo off, I think you should come upstairs and apologize to Marianne. Last night, someone from your party painted her dog.
Remember
Where's
her
this dog?
We
The
saw
dog
it
was
once.
in one episode.
It was the actress's actual dog.
It was.
Poodle or
But-
something.
I thought they weren't allowed to have pets, and we've only seen it that one time.
No,
and
teacup.
they never talk about the dog.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've never. She even lived with them for a while when she broke up with Jennifer for whatever, and there was no dog.
I know they're all going to move into a house together. Where's the dog?
Where's
the
the
dog?
dog?
Anyway, somebody painted her dog. It's kind of funny.
Okay,
a lot of
maybe-
drunk.
Maybe
That's
the dog died after being painted.
well, it could have had paint poisoning. I don't know what kind of paint they used. That would be sad. I don't want to. Where's the
Okay,
dog?
so Jennifer leaves,
Yes.
and then we pan out a little bit, and we see Balky go down and sit inside the fireplace.
We've seen this before.
Yes, it's like a Muposian shame
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
And Larry has seen it before a few times, but still has to ask, Balky, what are you doing after 6 years?
Good point.
And Balky says, I'm sitting among the ashes. And he's like, yeah, I see that, but why?
Oh, come on. He's done this before.
Yeah, Larry should know why.
You know exactly
every time
why,
he feels like
Larry.
he's let him down. So in fact, he says, because I failed you. And because of me, we drink horrible alcohol. We break all the dishes. And I have a vague recollection of putting Mrs. Schlegelmilch down the garbage
Oh my God, we got a Schlegel Milch mention. Now, that's like a season 1 callback. I haven't heard her
Yes,
name in a long
she's
time. I
around.
love that he mentioned Schlegel Milch is still around in the building. It's great.
Yeah, she's still in the building. But also here, Balky believes that it's his fault and that he's let him down, which we're almost at the end of the episode. And I feel like this is introducing a whole new set of stakes that
the first
we
thing
didn't
was
know about
Larry
at all.
didn't want Jennifer to get mad and
That was
and
the stakes
him.
of the bulk of the episode.
Wasn't
But if
that
you
the
remember
main
at the
thing?
very setup,
yeah.
Balky's excited because
He's
it's
his
his
best man.
job to like do a good party, but we lose that thread. There's no further talk about his
Correct.
feelings or those stakes
Correct.
at all. The
Until
other stakes took
just
over.
now.
So it's almost 2 episodes
Yeah, it's
smushed
bookended
together,
with this thing, right? There's the middle
which
part.
they
and
don't
there's
do
bookended.
often. 2 things like that in one episode on this
I
show.
think they, yes.
But
Well, he says, I don't deserve the honor of being a best man, so with heavy heart, I'm stepping down. He doesn't want to do it. He's filled Larry, and he starts picking up soot and just rubbing it on his
like
face.
black charcoal.
And Larry's like, Balky, come on, the ashes. And Balky goes, no, and rubs more charcoal on his face. And like 3 times he asks him, he goes, no. He rubs charcoal on his face. Finally, like, Balky, get out of the ashes. he finally gets
and
up.
he stands up, and we have the return now of lesson time music.
Yes.
So even though most of the episodes and the stakes and
this was the real resolution
was about Jennifer.
No, that didn't count. Listen to the music. This is the real.
This is the real lesson time.
This is the real message. What happens?
We only just know about now.
Yes.
They stand up. Larry's like talking. He goes, Balky, the day I marry Jennifer is going to be the happiest day of my life. And on the happiest day of my life, I want my best friend standing next to me.
Yeah, Balky goes, let's give him a call.
Oh. And Larry says, Balky, I couldn't have a better best man than you.
Oh.
I want you to be my best man.
Oh, the whole audience goes, oh. And Balky accepts.
And then he goes, now we are so happy we do the dance of joy.
Now we are so happy we do the dance of joy.
Hey. That's not the end of the show, listener. That's the end of the episode. So nice traditional finish there.
So we haven't had a dance of joy in a while.
Yeah. So it's good to see that. And Balky is still his best man.
And
everything
roll
resolved.
Credits.
Listener, before we get into our thoughts, check out our TeePublic shop if you want some swag. This is danceofjoypod.com/shop, where you will find lovely things like t-shirts, mugs, tote bags, pillows, cell phone cases, all with this podcast logo on there. And in fact, somebody bought a t-shirt. Somebody bought a t-shirt. Thank you.
Thank you. If it's you, we don't know who you are, but thank you for buying the shirt. And if it's you and you're hearing this, please take a picture, take a fun, get artsy, get creative, show us the shirt. Post it on our socials, tag us, or just send it to us. We would love to see it.
Thanks for supporting the pod and spreading the word. Anyway, so sister, season 7, episode 1.
Okay,
the infamous season 7. What'd you think?
I feel like they just had the idea, like, let's do something about a raucous bachelor party, and then they wrote a story to accommodate that
around
idea. But it didn't really make any sense. The stakes didn't make sense, and then you find out at the end that it was a different lesson altogether.
Yes,
from a different set of stakes that they didn't really heighten those stakes at all throughout. Yes. But it was this other story about Jennifer. I don't know. It was like two stories smushed together around a raucous bachelor party.
I mean, you're right. It's a little clunky.
It was very clunky. However, the physical comedy.
They got to play drunk.
And they got to play over the top,
and
hilarious,
they were having
drunk,
a blast.
Over exaggerated.
They gave us a classic vaudeville improv.
It was very joyful to watch all that. So
that was all fantastic, right?
So and
a dance of joy to finish it out.
And the classic vaudevillian arm gag thing.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The
arm gag.
So that's a lot of fun.
Here's the thing:
it's a lot of fun.
You almost have to watch this with two brains, right?
Yeah.
Like, this one does not deserve the logical brain's involvement at all. You got to leave your logical brain.
Just enjoy the gags
aside.
Yeah,
this one is purely the joy of watching the gags, the dance of joy.
And the arm bit is so funny.
The arm bit.
I'm dying.
The exaggerated drunk stuff.
The drunk stuff was great. It's so fun.
And like some funny lines, but you really have to like let go of
just like
the story.
they're so good at physical
Larry could
comedy.
have just worn the jacket.
Yes, Larry could have worn the coat. He could just tell
Who
Jennifer.
rips sleeves off shirts?
Yeah,
ever?
I'm having a bachelor party. It's fine. I don't know what the problem is.
And like in this imaginary world where booze doesn't smell like anything.
Yes, you don't know what you're drinking, really.
There is some booze, I suppose,
adults.
that can be like that. That's how people get into bad situations.
But however they had to force their way into this situation, I enjoyed the result. So
yeah.
I don't know. I had a good time. Good start to season 7. Really good start.
It's an okay start, but like,
right? I mean,
it was fun to watch.
Like it's season 7, I'm expecting the worst.
No, it was good. Yeah, you're right.
I'm like, oh my God, this is actually
it was
the handbit. What did our listeners think, sister?
Okay.
Very curious.
Our listeners had a lot of thoughts about this start to season 7. First up, we have listener cousin Pam Hitchcock, who first thing noticed the new hairstyles.
Yep.
She says, a new season, new hair. No more mullet for Balky, thank goodness.
Yeah.
And then this is an intended pun. She writes Jen's lion's mane, and lion is spelled like Jennifer Lyons' last name. Jen's lion's mane is tamed. Yes, not big. It's like straightened almost. It's not curly and poofy
The big
at all.
hair from the 80s is finally phased out.
But she goes, but what is up with Larry's haircut?
It's still a
just
little bit the
gelled
same. Yeah,
back.
it's just like, it's a smaller mullet.
You can't really change
It's not that
much
big.
about
No, with his hair, I
that
don't know
hair,
what you can
yeah.
do. Let's see what happens. I don't think you can do much. It's just curly and Brillo patty still.
Cousin Pam is a little incredulous that Larry is so worried about the noise of a bachelor party in his apartment. She makes a really good point. He's worried about the noise. They've had a cow, a horse, a campaign center, an alarm system gone awry, and a mini Bibi Bobka factory.
The Bibi Bobka's exploding. You think that was noisy?
All that stuff was very, very
And
noisy.
he's like, keep it down. I'm going to throw you guys out.
And he's worried about the noise now. Maybe they just got a new neighbor who complains more, and that person wasn't around for all that other stuff. Cousin Pam also had, like us, wondered about some of this raciness. She writes, drinking punch out of a stripper's bra and blacking out. Pretty racy for a family show and doesn't seem like something Larry and Balky would do.
See, but they were inebriated, forced. They did not know what they were drinking. Unwittingly inebriated because they had never tasted alcohol, apparently. So is it really their fault? I don't know. That's when they would normally do these things.
Have they never been drunk on
I
this show
don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess not. And then everybody wrote about this in the comments. Like, why didn't Larry just put the entire coat on? Why did Balky, usually the voice of reason, tell him not to put his left arm in? Even in Larry's addled state, you'd think he would just naturally put both arms in a coat, but logic wouldn't have given us that arm gesture scene, which I very much enjoyed. Same conclusion. Also very happy about to have a dance of joy. She didn't know how to rate the episode. She didn't outright hate it. But she writes, it has lots of physical comedy, but much of it was stereotypical. Unfortunately, we're now down to rating episodes by how bad they are. The arm gesture bit and Dance of Joy saved it for me. 8 Baba Stickies.
Yeah. Oh, 8 Baba
Stickies is pretty low. That's the negative scale.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. I thought,
that's
or maybe
a
even
negative scale, yeah.
Okay.
But she
also
scale. Says she didn't hate it, but it's 2 up from the bottom.
I get it, though. It's tricky. Like, it has its fun moments, but then it is kind of a lot of cliche, like the cliche bachelor party.
But I liked it a little bit more than that. But yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Cousin Pam. Next up, we have listener Cousin Whitney Smith. A lot of the same conclusions. She's calling this the end of an era with very little to no point of return.
Oh, boy.
Meaning the quality of the show and the storylines and everything. She says the well is running dry. Also, that means more and more and more episodes with the girls, which she has mentioned she doesn't like when they're in the episodes. There's going to be a lot this season, I think. And she's like, the party was like a little too crazy. She writes, I don't think even the Three Stooges had a party as ridiculous as the cousins. And they are the kings of throwing ridiculous parties. And she also says, what kind of liquor was that Mr. Gorpley spiked the punch with? It looked like a bottle of vodka. Either that was strong stuff or Balky and Larry are lightweights. They acted more goofy than they did when they got high off the laughing gas. I thought it was pretty equal goofiness.
Yeah, it's about the same kind of performance, but it's a fun thing.
And she wonders if, because Perfect Strangers at this point was in a later time slot on TGIF later in the evening.
I mean,
that's why they were able to do this level of raciness.
I think it's that maybe, and this was just a different time. Like even like 30 plus years ago. It was a different time.
Yeah.
This was kind of like normal. It is kind of weird just to look back and see it. Again, they'll put on Three's Company on this one channel, and I'm watching this going like, I can't believe
for sure
that they aired this like as a primetime show for like sit around with your family. It's amazingly
I don't
racy.
know. Was Three's Company like billed as a family show?
Well, I don't know. It wasn't family, but even still, it is an adult sitcom. But it's like I don't know. It's just like wildly adult, but it's so brilliantly fun.
Good. I love watching it at hotels and stuff.
Yeah.
And Cousin Whitney also, something we briefly mentioned, but like Marianne is supposed to be Jennifer's best friend, and usually when someone's talking about a bachelor party, the other best friend is talking about a bachelorette party, but there's no mention. So, like, is Marianne going to throw her?
No, she's not.
Party?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
She's trying to get Balky to engage, to propose.
Yeah.
This is her plan.
Anyway,
this is all she's focused on.
Cousin Whitney Smith did not like this episode at all. Capital all. Also, she thinks Balky's accent sounded different in this season. I don't know. Maybe we lose. I mean, he's coming up to his 7th year in America. So.
Yeah.
And yay, Dance of Joy. But that wasn't enough for her to like this episode.
All right. Not a fan on the start of season 7. That's all right. I get it. I laughed, though.
And finally, we have listener cousin Matt Crass, who, again, loved the arm bit, but wondered why didn't Larry just put his arm in the jacket. But so worth it to see it. He says their combined comedy genius made it so worth it.
Yep.
We agree. He also wonders who are these other guys at the party and how do Larry and Balky suddenly have actual friends?
Yes, there's been no mention of any of these friends ever until now. And special event here, listener.
Yay, ding,
oh
ding,
my
ding,
God.
ding.
You know how my sister tells you can leave a voicemail and at the end of every
week,
episode?
I say you can press a button.
Somebody has left us our first
Somebody pressed the button
voicemail.
and left us a voicemail.
After all these episodes of pimping the voicemail, somebody pressed it. Who pressed it? It was cousin Matt Crass. We have a voicemail from him. And
I have not heard this. I'm going to hear it live.
I will just set it up by saying it is about our last episode, our review of Second Sight.
Yeah, our season break special.
In which we mentioned him
a
couple times. Here, let's see where he has.
Hey, Sophia and Imran. It is cousin Matt Crass here. Thank you for doing that review of Second Sight. I felt like after you called me out a couple of times in your last podcast, I felt like it'd be easier to respond like this. So I hope you enjoy this voicemail. So Second Sight, I never said it was a great movie or even one of my favorites from childhood, but I think, Imran, you pretty much nailed it when you said, if you were 10 years old in 1989, would you find this entertaining? And I think you said, I think maybe you would. And that's exactly what it was for me. I was 9. My brother was 11. We were really into Perfect Strangers, of course, and particularly fascinated by Balky. One thing that we were wondering when we went to see this movie was, what is he going to sound like? Yeah. Because we knew what he sounded like on the show, but we never heard him speak anywhere else. There's no YouTube, so you couldn't go find him, hosting Saturday Night Live, which, by the way, was not his best work. I know now. Couldn't hear any other interviews that he gave speaking in his normal voice back then. So for two kids who wanted to see Bronson do his thing on the big screen, this movie did not disappoint. Mm-hmm. Were we looking for a plot? Were we looking for good direction or backstories of the characters?
Right.
Or any of those other things that you look for while watching movies as adults? Nah. It just had some good entertaining moments, and that's pretty much it.
Yay! Thanks, Matt Crass.
Cousin Matt Crass, thank you so much. We love you so much for that. That is very great insight, and thank you for sharing that with us.
Why we were excited at 10, and it makes perfect sense. And unfortunately, in the movie, he doesn't do a voice.
Right.
He just kind of talks, but he does Murray.
Matt and his brother being like, oh my God, that's his voice. And we didn't have YouTube and stuff.
Yes, that would have blown you away. The first time, he doesn't sound like Balky.
I love it.
I would have been the same way. I'd be like, wow, that's his real voice. But he does have to get to have fun with like Murray and some other
he
crazy
does a lot of physical comedy.
And kind of the fun voices.
And it's just another chance to see Bronson Pinchot in a different voice.
Also,
silly.
I think Matt Crass gave us another brilliant idea. We definitely should find
our next season break.
The SNL episode that he hosted.
I've watched it.
I think all of them are on like Peacock or something.
I watched the monologue. Yeah.
We should review those bits. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, we should.
And thirdly, this is how you get people to leave a voicemail. You just call them out on stuff so they have to be like, I got to call in and set the record straight.
Who are we going to call out today?
Yes. So,
Matt Crass, we called you out of love. We had a fun time watching that movie, as we said. It just, I almost wish we had known that little backstory about what you and your brother were looking for when we watched it. But thank you again for sharing that with us. So makes complete sense.
Don't be ridiculous. Not exactly said.
Of course I have. Don't be ridiculous.
It was
He
almost
makes it
said.
meticulous, which is a fun.
Don't be meticulous.
It's a fun play on words. I do appreciate that.
Nice
And
rhyme.
We don't get actual Dimitri, but his photo can be seen. But now it's like up in the middle on the bookshelf.
On the
It was
top
up
shelf
on the top
in the
shelf of the
middle.
bookshelf.
It keeps moving around.
I know it keeps moving around. I don't know where Dimitri is. Hopefully he comes back.
They should have put it
Season
somewhere
7.
fun after the apartment was trashed. Like
Dimitri could have been in the freezer.
Yeah, because
But
the
then I'd be
freezer
like,
door was open.
he's cold. You got to get him out of there.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
We have arrived at Perfect Strangers Today, or PS Today, which is the segment of this podcast in which we discuss, can we make this episode today? Does everything still hold up? Premises, jokes, etc. Is it worth making today? What things would have to change? What are your thoughts?
I mean, it is weird that he puts together a party in like one day. It is kind of lame. You still have bachelor parties like this.
And you find all your friends without smartphones. You find them all to come that night.
Yes, it would be easier to do that. You still have the stigma from fiancés about having the bachelor party.
Yeah, I guess you could make it, but like, what would the stakes were
Alcohol
so like
still
weird?
does the same thing.
Yeah, but alcohol apparently has odor now.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that undetectable.
Most spirits, yeah.
The arm gag you could even still do. That's a classic. Like there's things in this episode that you watch 30 years from now, it's still going to be funny.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
whole
like,
arm gag is still going to be funny.
I mean, like,
it holds up.
time-wise, technology-wise, there's nothing dated that wouldn't be around
Except
today.
for the phone bit.
The phone
is
bit,
the
but
only
they could.
thing.
Yeah, they'd have to cut that one joke.
But a
about
cell
the
phone would
cord.
still be ringing because
Yeah,
somehow.
and you always
Yeah.
lose your cell phone.
Yeah.
Just it's in the wall thing.
Well, now it would just be like, oh my God, Belky, I got a text from Jennifer. She's coming down.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have to clean this place right.
Right.
Something.
Yeah.
You could do a funny bit where it's vibrating, but he doesn't know where it is.
Yeah.
But it's in his pants. And he's
it's
like,
woo,
oh, oh,
yeah.
how'd that get there?
I just thought the same. Yeah, so you'd update some of the jokes, but premise-wise, everything still.
It's pretty
still
timeless.
holds
It's pretty solid.
jokes-wise.
It's still, I don't know
I
how
mean, you would have the same like weird questions that we have.
Yes,
like,
I don't know
holes in
how
the
you make
story.
sense why he wants her to forgive him for what. I'm not sure.
Forgive him for what?
He
Let
was
us know.
an unwitting victim in this whole shenanigans.
Gorpley was the one
Yeah.
who should be forgiven.
That's the one you should be mad. Don't invite him to your wedding if you're mad.
Oh my God! Don't invite him.
I bet he'll be there.
We'll find out. Guess when? Next week.
Oh my God, we're at the wedding
It's
already.
already next week. They got a
snap.
ring.
Next
They
week.
had the bachelor party.
Yeah, it's all done. It's time
They
for the
talked
wedding.
about a prenup.
I hope they can get there
They set a
without any
date.
kind of incidents happening.
What was the date they set?
September.
Exactly. So now we're in
1991.
September.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope they make it on time and nothing impedes their journey.
We will find out
to
next
said
week.
wedding. Because that would be a shame.
Yeah.
Things will get
Join
delayed.
us next week.
Or it could be hilarious. In the meantime, there's another way you can support the show. You can visit our website. You can click on that Buy Us a Coffee button. It's like a virtual tip jar. We appreciate everyone's support that has given over these past few years.
We could use a little bit of dig dust to buy these episodes now that
Yes,
they're not on
did have to
freebie
purchase
anymore.
Episode season 7. Maybe, yes. But all of it goes back into the show, into the hosting costs, maintenance, website. Keeps the show going until the end.
Until the end, and we're almost there.
Who knows? We're almost there. It's very exciting. This will be the year.
Almost there.
Rejoice, listener.
If you are not able to buy us a coffee, that's totally fine too. You can also show us some love just by visiting us in the ether world in all the places where we exist. We have our website, danceofjoypod.com, and from there you can do what Cousin Matt Crass did. You can press the microphone button, which works. Mm-hmm. It works still, and leave us a voice message. Tell us, why was Larry asking for forgiveness? For what?
For why?
For why? And also on the website, you can, click other buttons and go to all the places where you can stream this podcast and like it and rate it and review it and subscribe to it and all that fun stuff. You can also send us an email at danceofjoypod@gmail.com or find us on any of our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you bought the t-shirt recently, we'd love to see it. Post it there, tag us. We will shout you out on the show. But Imran, what is the most important thing our listeners should do?
Oh, well, when you're out shirt shopping, gentlemen, always check the stitching at the shoulder because they're supposed to stay on. Occasionally, apparently every so often, that thing will the sleeve will come right up.
Yeah,
You don't want to get that shirt.
don't get so strong and rip your clothes apart.
Tug on your sleeves before you purchase. That's the lesson of this episode.
No, the most important thing is to share this podcast with a friend.
Oh, right. All right.
Please talk about us.
The next bachelor party you go to.
Hopefully nice things, but you can say not nice things. All press is good press.
That's right.
Just talk about this show. Tell people about Perfect Strangers. We just want everyone to have 22 minutes of joy every week like we do, or every day if you care to binge.
That's right. Spread the
Word
joy.
of mouth goes a long way. We really, really appreciate it. And that's our show for today. And now we are so happy.
Now we are so happy we do the dance of joy.
Hey, 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 hey.